Shout out Big Steve.
Shout out Michael Bisbin. And shout out anyone watching, right? UFC 105, last breakdown before the card tomorrow. Watch the weigh-ins quickly. Going to go over some bets that I have and try and make some more money. Made 460 on PFL. Yeah, a little poo change, but it is PFL after all. There's a lot of shithousery going on. Could have been better. The reads were good. Pineda was a bit of a miss, but it is what it is. All right, let's get straight into this, right? So first fight. I mean, Vanessa Demopoulos, Talita Alencar. F this fight. Just a bunch of jobbers, female jobbers as well. The consensus is Talita should be able to take her down. It's not hard. And she's got the jiu-jitsu to maul her on top. I don't like her cardio. I don't like her experience in MMA. I don't like her striking. But the gut tells me, despite, that's the obvious outcome. But I would rather play Vanessa. She's been grappled before and won, by better wrestlers. So, but, I'm not really interested. So let's move on. Speaking of not really being interested, Martin Buday versus Uran Satybaldiev. Right, so this guy is generally a light heavyweight. He might have even been a middleweight. Let me have a look. He's taking this short notice. He's the current LFA champ, I'm pretty sure. Not the best fighter. His run in LFA. They've given him a bum or two, and then he's got Bruno Assis, who's very chinny. It took him almost 5 rounds to finish him. And then he got Leon Suarez, who was a minus 800 favorite. Let me see what he weighed in. He weighed in 222, so definitely not a heavyweight. Right, Kennedy and Chukwu can go up to 240. So yeah, light heavyweight. I don't know. He's obviously better in, faster, more mobile, throws more. But Buday, he's a natural heavyweight. He's relatively durable. So this is a shit show fight. I'm also not interested in this, so I'm not going to waste too much time. I like the overs. Right, I don't think anyone is finishing in this fight. Let me have a look. The Kennedy ones were generous. Let's see if these are generous. If we even have totals in this fight. Nothing on Bet365, but that's all right. Let's move on. Aaron Gionella. Shout out Big Steve to go. Thank you, Aaron. Generous words from you. Thanks for listening. Richard V. Franza absolutely sucks. Well, we will talk about that soon enough. Victor Henry, Pedro Falcao. Look, it's a dog or pass here. I get, wanting to play Victor. He is a good fighter. He's a little bit old. And, he can be taken down. If I was going to play Victor, I would rather play him via live bet, because he's generally a guy that comes on late with the cardio, with the volume, not the biggest power hitter. Especially when someone is a takedown threat, it can be even worse. That's how he lost to Asensio. He was very, very patient against a washed Rani Yar. So, and we just saw him submitted for the first time, by Charles Jourdain, out of all people. Pedro Falcao is not that bad at all. I don't know why people have been shitting on him. They've been shitting on him before. They've been shitting on him in his debut. 29-28 against Viana. Short notice fight. And Victor Hugo, pardon me, not Viana. And yeah, I also think Hugo's not that bad after watching his recent fight with Basharat. All right, so yeah, I think Pedro is good, man. He's a bit similar to Sabatini, who we'll talk about soon enough. Not the best wrestling, but everything is minimum extreme pressure. No space. That 3rd degree black belt. Right, it's all jiu-jitsu technique, and he just grinds on you. And when he gets a trip against the cage, he jumps to your back, and people can get up and reverse. So Victor Henry can probably scramble, get out a few times, and then this fight becomes kind of like a damage versus control. Falcao can also land because Victor is extremely hittable. I think that a fight with Gravely is a good indication, and that was a split decision, right? I thought it wasn't a split, but it's just the way the Victor fights is very, very competitive. So dog or pass, but I don't really want to invest my money in this. Yeah. The overs, obviously, extremely chalked. I mean, I basically just feel like it's going to be a sub by Falcao if you're willing to take a poke. don't really give Henry much KO upside unless he's putting on numbers, crazy numbers. Alrighty, Lookboonmee, Estela Nunes. I didn't tape this one, full discretion. I know him quite well just because, I mean, I donated to Estela Nunes before. I think I donated multiple times. Let me have a look. I donated against Canalosi. I thought she was winning that fight, and then round 3 sub. I donated against Sam Hughes. That was an awful bet at minus 225. I thought she won round 1 and 2, and she was extremely unfortunate not to win it. And that's about it. That's where my donations end. But yeah, it's just a frustrating fighter. Really high level Muay Thai chick. Very high level for a female fighter, but just like falls apart. And these are not the best women, Canalosi especially. So Loma should be the favorite. Should she be this much of a favorite? No, that's a bit crazy, considering it's another chick that can match her striking. But yeah, Loma's good, Denise Gomez, Bruno Brazil, Sam Hughes. These are all unanimous decisions, and she's grown and improved in the octagon. If anything, I'll play the under. Obviously correlates with Loma. Obviously, Loma sub. Loma sub was much better against Elise Reed. Here, not so sure. $4.33. It's a tough one. Might as well just play the under. $3.10. Right? It's so close in numbers, but yeah, I didn't tape it because I knew I'll be tempted in a female under, and I'll be tempted on Estela Nunes. So I just, I'm trusting my gut and choosing not to get involved. All right, it's probably going to be frustrating. Bill Fay. Hey, large Stephen. Hello, Bill. We've got a lot of people that I've never heard of. Aaron, Richard, Bill. I'm sure some of you are not first-time listeners, but one thing that makes me think Tavares could get a finish is that you'll have to wait, my friend. Wait till we get to that fight. Richard, Romious sub is pretty nice. Yeah, a few people are on it. Not really feeling it out. After my initial tape, I left thinking he's not a good submission fighter. Right. But Kang Lee will give him opportunities. All right. Reese McKee, Daniel Franza. So I have a unit and a half on Franza. I completely butchered the CLV. Reese McKee seems to be one of the most popular dogs. Money's coming on him. I definitely jumped the gun a bit. I wasn't overly confident. It does kind of remind me of my Pirate bet versus Wood in London a few weeks ago. I bet a guy that needs moments, and I thought he could, knock out the chinny guy. And he didn't get any moments, and he's not really the best striker. Although, Daniel Franza, he's a meat and potatoes guy. And, he can kind of give up minutes because he can be very patient. Every time I tape him, I just like his intangibles, right? He turns it on when he's losing. He'll fight for your money. He's clutch. He got that last second KO against Talunzic in LFA when I bet him. It was 1-1 going into the third. He would have won anyway because 1-1, and he obviously would have got a third round based off that knockdown. But every time he gets a step up, even Kutsi in Contender Series, he just beats him, and they're better and better guys. I think, honestly, Reese McKee is worse than some of those guys. He was barely a Cage Warriors champ after eating shit against Burlinson. And Talunzic was an LFA champ. So who the hell knows who's worse, right? But ultimately, I just feel like, Reese McKee could make this competitive. He's got good volume. He's hittable, but has an iron chin. And he can probably grapple a little bit, but he doesn't really grapple anyone. He might be able to take Franza's back, who always gives up his back. But my gut is just telling me that at some point, Franza's going to kill him, right? It won't be the first time Reese McKee's been knocked out, so he's not this insanely durable guy. But I was going to say first time knocked out in UFC, but even Kamza knocked him out ground and pound. I just feel like maybe a straight right or an elbow in the clinch is going to get Reese out of there. But I'm not really overly confident. I hate getting reverse CLV'd as well. So, but I would not be interested in Reese. If anything, I should have waited, and I definitely would have played Daniel at this price if I waited. So we'll see. Maybe I just completely reduce and just go with live betting because Franza can be a slow starter. I think live betting will be good, and that way I get in on my action anyway. In terms of the unders, it's like pick 'em, and I think Franza is very, very durable, extremely durable. And that uppercut that he ate from Kutsi is 17-2, and he's got a billion knockouts. And he landed a brutal uppercut. Not only that, he landed a follow-up hammer fist right on the chin. You see those put people out cold, and just ate it and got up and put it on him. So yeah, I like Franza, man. I like Franza. He's meat and potatoes, but he's good. He's a good fighter. So yeah, I just feel like the under, now that it's $1.68, it's taking action. I just feel like it correlates with Franza KO, honestly. And that's crap. $2.60. Rubbish. FIFA Gaming might be better live, but correct. We agree on that. Oh, Lou Betcha. Haven't heard from this guy in a week, and he just pops in. Thank you for listening, Lou. Billy, Franza negative EV decision is inevitable. Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like, he'll be getting out volumed, and then he's just going to get a few moments. Lou Betcha, how much do you cap Fancy Hat? Yeah, I've heard a lot about Fancy Hat. In this case, not much. Richard, Franza super green, full of holes. He beat a gassy ration in Daylock 10 series, the gas horribly after 3 minutes. I mean, they both have holes, my friend. Right? You could argue that McKee is not really green because he has a shitload of fights, but he's full of holes. Right? Full of holes. Striking, grappling, he's not physical. As I said, Franza's meat potatoes, but he gets it done. Also, Holy is a lock since I didn't interview him. Man, we'll get to that fight. Green and full of holes, so Franza is moldy Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese is blue, my friend. But close enough. Shout out Aussie fight fan. Richard V. Reese sucks. Here we go. Reese had a lot of holes, that's why he never won a fight. Yeah, I'm not into backing these guys that are 0-4 in the UFC. Alrighty. Diane Barbosa versus Diana Belbita. Interesting first name dynamic. Dione and Diana. Anyway, everyone's smashing the under. When I did the early teas on Sunday, the under 2.5 was plus 150, $2.50. I pointed it out. I didn't expect that line movement. The next day, it's minus money. Now it's hovering around pick'em. Generally, I mean, if it's going to be a finish, it's Diane Barbosa via sub. She's got some power. She's hurt girls before. She hurt Anesta Kanakates multiple times in round 1 and 2. And yeah, ultimately, if it's going to be anything, it will be a sub. She got her back. She went for an armbar. For a jiu-jitsu black belt, she's quite bad with submissions. I mean, she has 2 submissions at the start of her career against bums, and then 1 against Rain Guerrero in Denmark Contender Series. And in the process, she lost position 2-3 times. She lost the back. She got reversed. That's the only reason she got an armbar from guard, because she ended up on bottom. All right, so not the best submission striker, submission fighter. Jessica Middleton 5 and 6. She couldn't submit her with 3 rounds of top time. She had Anesta's back, couldn't finish the rear naked choke. It was close though. Anesta does have good submission defense from the regional tape. So, and obviously Miranda Mary, Bishop. So I wouldn't go crazy on this. I mean, it seems very, very obvious since Diana Belbita has been subbed like every single time from guard, from top. The only thing she hasn't been subbed is, with the rear naked choke, really. Tons of arm bars. So, and she's stupid enough to go for takedowns as well. So, plus there's rumors that this might be her retirement fight. So, because Diana is gassy, I pretty much just feel like going with, Diane Barbosa sub 1 and 2 or sub 1, and you get a much better price. And then if she's going to be an idiot and go to another decision and fail to finish, I'm not losing my marbles. So, sub 1 is $3.40 on Bet365. Sub 2, $5.25. But sub 1 and 2 is $2.60 on Neds, plus 160, which was better than the under 2.5. So there you go. I'm definitely going to take a poke because, it's too obvious, but don't want to miss out on it as well. So, all right, what do we got? Cody H likes him some holes. Man, who are these guys? Cody H? I don't think I've seen your name before. Thanks for listening. Aaron, they owned by sub McKee inside the distance. I don't think McKee finishes him, mate. No confidence in Franza. That's fair enough. You know, Franza at chalk. I get it. He's had some close fights. Now the overs might be interesting. Correct FIFA, but you know that round one is very live. If that, especially if Diana is contemplating retirement, you know how it is. David Grant, Daniel Santos. This fight is so good and it's so interesting. I don't think I can make an accurate. Wait, is this fight happening? I don't remember seeing these guys weigh in. I just watched the weigh in and I seem to have missed the face off with these two. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, interesting fight. A little bit of a line movement on David Grant makes sense. He's always underrated. But I will say that his opponent, Daniel Willie Cat Santos, he is better than. Wait, is this fight cancelled? It's not on Bet365 either. Oh, it is. Man, I freaking knew it. I knew it. I left taping this fight till last night because who pulled out? Was it Willie Cat? It's always Willie Cat. What a shame. Sorry, I gotta have to look at this. It's bothering me. It's always Willie Cat. Santos medical issues, of course. What a bum. Yeah, anyway, I was gonna say it's a volatile fight. You know, anyone can win, anyone can get dropped, anyone can get knocked out. So yeah. All right. Shame though, would have been like the most entertaining fight. Richard, how come I can't bet KO sub props on Bet365? I don't know, my friend. You're asking the wrong person. I don't work at Bet365. Alrighty. Robert Valentin versus Torres Finney. Finney making his debut after 3 wins in Contender Series. Unheard of. And he's a $1.30 favorite. Money just keeps on piling in on him. And Robert Valentin, you know, I understand why he's getting faded by the public. He has fought this kind of style before and it's always given him issues. Right, back in 2019, he lost to Dejati Melan, who grappled him, and you know, then 2022, Ahmad Salamov, right, who just same thing. And you know, I don't know how I watched those fights, and then I bet him at chalk against Ryan Loder. I fell into the hype, the aura. I thought he might have improved, you know, 2 years ago. And yeah, it's the same thing. Not really improved at all. Instantly taken down, almost submitted. And now he's fighting Torres Finney, who is not that impressive, right? He's a massive crotch sniffer. He's young. He's a bit green. He doesn't have much in terms of striking or finishing upside. You know, he usually finishes bums or guys that break late or cardio die. So I think he might extend. Yeah, I mean, I think Robert Valentin is going to be one of these guys that never really patches up that hole. What is he now? 30 years old. I mean, he could. But why not patch it up before fighting Ryan Loder? Right? He's too busy scrambling, exploding. He has a few scrambles in him and reversals, but just I feel like he's going to be one of these guys like Carlos Condit that never really has good takedown defense. Right? He's just too focused on scrambling, too focused on hunting submissions, losing position. And Torres Finney, not impressive, but he's just going to force that game plan for 15 minutes, even while gassed. And usually those guys tend to do better because they don't stray off. But still, dog or pass, man. Dog or pass. It's a very volatile fight. I need to look into Finney some more. His tape is brutal, so I've been putting it off. Just crotch sniffing. But I mean, at this price, man, $3.50 on Robert. And old mate Finney, he was almost knocked out multiple times by the Russian polar bear. Right, the guy on Contender Series, who I also don't think he's that great. And he just hasn't really fought many good guys other than that to punish him. Right? Cam Roston was decent, but he came off a massive layoff and he's built like a rake. Yuri Panfarov, that's the guy. I wonder what he's doing. Let me have a look quickly at Yuri Panfarov. Ivan Batinic is a good win, but I think Ivan was very, very old at that point. Panfarov, yeah, went back to killing bums. So this guy just kills bums, doesn't have one good win on his record, so it's really hard to tell how good he is. And he's still almost, knocked out Finney. Yeah, it's a dog or pass. I feel like the under 2.5 feels kind of lockish. But at $1.57 at the same time, with Finney, I can see Finney just sitting on him, grinding on him. But yeah, it's a dogger pass. Might be a good live bet when things extend and he turns into a shit show. Some of these props are really good on Valentin. KO $10, submission $6.50. Or round 1, $8.50. Not bad. Or round 2. There's some spots here. There's some spots I need to go more in depth. Finney going to be such a good fighter in the future. Hope his debut is impressive. We'll see. Lewis, Gurule, Ode, Osbourne. Alrighty. So I have 3 units on Lewis Gurule. At minus 200 here. I had a little bit of CLV. Now it's bounced back. There's a bit of noise. He's not that good. Blah, blah, blah. Obviously, some sharps are hitting Ode. I get it. You watch Lewis's tape, and he's been dropped at least 2 times, minimum. He was dropped by some guy who I can't find now. He got dropped by Jacob Silva. He's got good power. He walked into a jab late in the fight. I don't think he has bad chin whatsoever. I just think he constantly pressures. He walks forward, and he tries to slip and rip with his hands down, and sometimes it backfires, but it's part of his style. Right? He instantly gets up and puts it on and tries to get it back. And, every time you drop him, you're going to lose a bit of cardio, the adrenaline. And we've seen Ode do that before. So ultimately what it came down to this, I think Gurule has volume. He has output. He has power. People are saying he doesn't have power just because of his lack of finishes recently, but he has power. He's just styles of matchups and not really wrestling, but he's hurting guys, right? Maybe not even putting all his power into his punches. Who knows? He definitely has power, and he's got wrestling if he wants it. He has cardio. He's got scrambling. I feel like he has durability, and he'll fight for your money. He has no quit. And essentially, you're fighting Ode, who I don't think is UFC level. He's been getting by on his athleticism. He's basically been finished every time he loses, whether it's sub, whether it's KO. That Charles Johnson win is whatever, catch weight. Charles Johnson is one of the stupidest fighters to ever do it. And look, he almost won a decision against Lazy Boy. But that was one of the reasons why I faded Lazy Boy with Bojas. Just awful fighter. Awful fighter. I'm glad I didn't miss out on that fade. And a big plus money too. Makes it all the better. And yeah, that's his path. Knock out Gurule in the first. Maybe he can drop him in another round. Right? I do give him some slight decision equity. But ultimately, I feel like Gurule fights the way CJ Vergara fought in round 3 against Ode Osbourne when he was 2-0 down. And he almost broke Ode. In rounds 1 and 2, he was kind of patient. He respected Ode's power and speed. But as we've just seen, CJ is one of the worst guys in the UFC. He's been cut. Couldn't beat anyone good. Couldn't beat anyone clean. So I just feel like Ode is going to come from the start. He might get himself dropped and hurt. He's going to put himself in the line of fire. But that's what you need to do to beat Ode. If he gets dropped, even better. He'll come and keep pressuring. He does a good teep to the gut as well. And Ode also relies on his head movement and speed. So his hands are completely down by his knees. And I think he's going to get cracked a couple times by Gurule. I thought about leaving it for live betting, but I just feel, Lewis could get a moment in round 1 and then potentially a bet that looks massive favorite from start and ends up in a finish, you miss out on, right? So I should probably reduce a little bit. 3 units seems a bit excessive. It would probably be... it wouldn't be Gurule's best win. I don't want to say that. I don't think Ode is that good at all. I should probably reduce a little bit, leave some for live betting just in case. And I'm also thinking about playing doesn't go the distance, right? I think if he makes it to round 3, it's going to be very, very sweaty for Ode. Very, very sweaty. I think he can get submitted. I think submission is cheeky as well. Very cheeky. So that's where I'm at. Let me have a look at the props, if they've moved. I know the under has taken a lot of action. And now it's minus 200, I think. Why the hell did the props not work on the Gurule fight? Anyway, who cares? Danny, 9-inch reach disadvantage puts me off. Oda edged Charles Johnson somehow. I just talked about that. That's like meme. That was meme. That was catch weight. That was a one-time. Charles didn't really have good cardio, and as I said, idiot, stupid idiot, going for guillotines, constantly getting his teeth caught, and even that was a robbery. Still, you could still argue that Johnson won. Richard Gurule 2 and 3 are nice, correct, not bad at all. Is Gurule a mega double platinum whale nuke play? Well, for me at the moment it is 1,500, but it's getting a little bit scary with the noise. You just have to shut out the noise, but the noise is not saying anything that I don't already know. It will be a little bit sweaty early. And if Gurule comes out there like CJ Vergara and he goes, oh, this guy's very powerful, I got to respect him a bit more, that would be a bad move. He won't push the pace and he will give Ode a slow paced fight. But the way the guy fights, he came out on Contender Series, 1 week's notice and just went for the kill. So it's probably what happens here as well. Anyway, let's move on. Gerald Meerschaert versus Brad Tavares. Interesting fight. Two guys that I cannot believe have not fought. They seem like same veterans. They've been in the UFC for the same amount of time. 30 versus 35. Good fight. Money's slowly been coming in on Gerald Meerschaert. I get it. As I mentioned, I like them. It's one of those ones that, you can't really play it because bad chin plus elite takedown defense on Tavares' side. Awful matchup. But as I said, you got to look at it from the value perspective, right? Gerald Meerschaert has beaten better strikers, younger strikers with more power that are less washed than Brad Tavares before. And he's beaten them when he couldn't take him down, right? Edmund Shabazian, what's his name? Your boy Anders back in the day, which I quoted on the early tees. Right? I bet Eric Anders big there because I'm like, there is no way Anders is going to get taken down. And at some point, he's going to knock out GM3. And then GM3 hurts him to the body and almost outstrikes him for 3 rounds. Right? He's done it before. Right? Muradov, he was hurting on the feet a bit. So, yeah. And then I rewatched that fight with Junior Park. And, Park is taking him down in round 3 and just backpacking him. Right? So that in that fight alone, Tavares' takedown defense didn't look as elite as it used to. But, it's just a competitive fight. Like, is Brad Tavares going to come out there and look, like next coming of Alex Pereira at 37? Maybe. But maybe live bet is better. But Gerald came out really good against Renato Dorita in round 1. And then it was a reverse live bet. Live betting Dorita was better there. Who knows? It's just it's a washed MMA fight. Middleweight fight, the worst division. Man, my Bet365 is pissing me off. I mean, if you're brave, I guess you can play Meerschaert via sub. How many times has that gone wrong? Never really. What's the totals? Yeah, the unders are okay. If Tavares is going to get a knockout in his career, it's probably going to be GM3. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting fight. Round 3 for Meerschaert, $15. Can't go wrong. Alrighty. Cortavius Romious, Chang Hang Lee. So I take this one early in the week. And ultimately, I get why the line movement is coming on Romious. He is very, very athletic. He's extremely dangerous early. Chung Ho Lee, a road to UFC winner, is complete opposite. He comes forward, he's stiff, no head movement, no power, can be taken down, can be rinsed in the grappling, but he just basically wins on heart and durability. That's it. All right, he just keeps on grappling, and then until eventually he breaks you. He does have good ground and pound, I'll give him that, and obviously great heart, which I don't think Romious has. So I get the line movement. I think it's going to be a little bit sweaty early on Romious. But ultimately, I came away thinking, I don't think Romious' jiu-jitsu is that great. I've seen him multiple times lose position and, fail an armbar, which he loves so much. And at that point, it's like, all right, if Romious can't really finish Chang Ho Lee and this fight extends, I've seen many, many times that Romious does not have good decision equity, right? So now I'm honestly, with the line coming in so much, I'm really, really tempted on Lee. I'm really tempted on Lee, and obviously a live bet is a no-brainer because early Romious, especially if Lee's pressuring him with no defense, early Romious is going to be dangerous. He might walk into some sort of head kick, no matter how durable he is. And I will say that the guy Long, the guy that Lee beat to win the Road to UFC, and G, whatever his name is, the guy that he lost to in Brave FC, Kai Zhong, Jesus. I think they're both better than old mate Romious. So, he just has to survive, and he has to keep that pressure going. And I think eventually he will break Romious. The under is, because of that, the under kind of interests me, right? Because it's a punching bag, I do give him a bit of a chance to get knocked out, right? Romious almost knocked out Bolanos as well, but Bolanos, I think, is chinny. So, we got that. Early Romious. And then I think Chohan Lee can break him in 2 and 3. So Lee KO is $5.50. It's actually really, really not bad. Not bad at all. Does he have many subs? Let me have a look. Literally 1. It's all ground and pound. Right, so I like that. KO. I like that. This is a fight that there's a lot of things sticking out to me. Money line, live bet, KO, doesn't go. And there's a few fights like that. So those are the fights that I'm going to take in depth after this. After I tackle a little bit of Octagon. And but Lee, in some capacity, or the under will be played. Richard, GM3 school, Bruno Silva, Bruno KO Tavares. I mean, it doesn't really work like that, but I'll play Bruno there. I've been trying to fade Tavares for a bit. I told my worker today this is the worst UFC card. Nah, it's not at all, man. It's not at all. Dude, you think this is bad? Just wait. We have a main event of... Oh, who's this man? There's a female main event. Right? I don't want to sound sexist, but it is what it is. Let me tell you. We have a card coming. Sorry to go off tangent, boys, but why not? By the way, there's a really good UFC card with... What's his name? Sandhagen and Figueiredo. Every fight's going to finish under, pretty much. I might unload my bankroll on every under in that card. This card was made for unders. And then the shit one that's coming. Where the hell is it? I mean, there's Blades versus Kuniev here. Hopefully that's not a main event. Oh, we got Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. That's going to be shithouse. I thought it was something worse than that. Oh, we got Miranda Maric versus Rose Namajunas. Come on, lads. This is going to be worse. Anyway, back to this. Joe Anderson, Brito, Pat Sabatini. Look, I get why people are playing Pat Sabatini. He is an elite grappler, jiu-jitsu guy, I should say. His thing could be a little bit better, but I love his pressure. His pressure, head pressure. It's not easy to do in jiu-jitsu. It takes years and years of practicing. But he's a bit of a weenie, and he can be knocked out. He's a bit fragile, to say the least. Every time he's been finished, he has literally lost in under 2 minutes. Minute 30, minute 9 against Damon Jackson. Faded him there, thank goodness. And James Gonzalez was a sub, which was a bit of a meme. He did lose a scrambling-based decision to Chepe Mariscal. So he can be out-grappled. But look who he's fighting, right? Lucas Almeida, horrible takedown defense and a 0 off his back. And Jonathan Pierce, a guy that always puts himself in subs. I just think, he might have some success against Joe Anderson Brito because he makes mistakes. He can be taken down, but I do think his wrestling is underrated. He's very strong. He basically won round 1 against old mate Jonathan Pierce. And yeah, but he did lose to wrestlers before, William Gomez and Bill Algeo. But I will say, he's losing to weasels. He's losing to weasels that have good cardio, they have good IQ, in William Gomez, and they're very durable, right? He landed a lot on Algeo. He landed a lot on William Gomez. I just feel like if I play Sabatini, even if he wins round 1, round 2 is going to get sparked, or round 3 is going to get sparked, right? So it's a very scary bet. Props to anyone playing it. So yeah, it is. I'm just I'm flipping back and forth. I like the under 1.5, but it's been smashed. It was plus 140 at one point, so that would have been great. I don't really think Sabatini will sub him. Some people think that he can. I don't think so, but it would have been good to play that, and because his KO is worse than that, $2.20. Now it's $2.20 for the under 1.5. Otherwise, what's his round 1? Round 1 is $3.60. He does have a good guillotine, but I would not be going for a guillotine if I was Jonas and Brito. KO round 1, $4.50. Almost $1 better. I didn't expect that. Wow, they give his guillotine a little bit of equity. Yeah, Matt might just play that, and if he doesn't KO him in the first, it is what it is. Live bet the fight. Alrighty, Josh Emmett, Lerone Murphy. Basically, it's a dog or pass for me, but I haven't locked it in because Lerone Murphy's a winner. He gets hurt, he gets dropped, he's given up minutes, and he just comes back and wins. These guys, you don't really fade these kind of guys. But, I mean, Josh Emmett, people have been saying he's been washed for years. And I've been playing Emmett so much, man. I played him as a dog against Qatar. People are like, he's not going to be able to win against the boxer in a 5-round. That's that good. Beat him. Say what you will about robbery, but, it was plus 300. 300 and something. I played KO decision, double chance. Massive value. He's already beat Danny Ige, a lot more clearly than Lerone Murphy did. Right. Just a bunch of good wins on his record, man. Yair Rodriguez, he looked a bit washed there. Bryce Mitchell, coming off 2 losses, a sub 2-minute KO. Like, he's still got juice in the tank, this guy. Right, so Lerone Murphy, what's his best win? Everyone is glazing his win against Barbosa. Barbosa's, man, looked average for a long, long time. All right, the guy is almost 40. I shouldn't say he looked average, but he looks good, and then when you pressure him, when you hurt him, he just falls apart. So, and the fact that he couldn't finish Barbosa was embarrassing. But his win against Gabriel Santos is aging great. So, yeah, it's a dog or pass for me. And I haven't played it because I need to evaluate. Will Lerone Murphy just edge every single round? With a bit more kicks, body kicks, leg kicks, while Josh is waiting for that big shot. But I also think Lerone won't be able to wrestle Josh Emmett. So there's that as well. Alrighty, that's that. So a unit and a half on Franza where I got reverse CLV'd. Not feeling too flash about it. I might just completely get out and then look to live. I feel like this week I've been a bit reckless with my money. So that's when you get complacent, and that's the only time I get reverse CLV'd. So I need to make it out of this week and not lose. Make it with profit, and then I'll be more disciplined again. But yeah, I might get out of Franza. We'll see. And I got 3 units on Gurule. Might lower that. Add a little bit of under. I like Lee. Brito, round 1. It's the obvious choice. Barbosa, round 1, round 2 sub. Obvious choice. Might get on Falcao, we'll see. And might get on the Buday overs. We'll see as well. But Buday is a favourite, Jesus. Alrighty, that's it. Leave me a comment. Give me your locks. FIFA. Have you already hedged Rade in Glory FC? No, but I probably will. I don't know. I'm stuck between he should win and he's probably going to let me down. Some people play the overs. The overs in Emmett Murphy, 2 incredibly tough guys. I probably think it does go over, but also incredibly dangerous guys at minus 200. I don't know how I feel. Alrighty. Peace out. like and subscribe, and thank you for listening.